The 2010s. The witches had ditched black magic and communicating with the devil to buy an iPhone from the closest Apple store. Said witches began posting on Tumblr about their depression, anxiety, and overall mental decline, gaining thousands of likes and followers. Welcome back to OCD. I am Declan Fuller, and in the second part of this three-part series on OCD's past, present, and future, we're stepping out of our time machine and throwing it away completely. In this episode, it's all about the present, with a special guest in the second half. Last episode, we talked about the origin of obsessive compulsive disorder, what it actually is, and what historical figures had it. But like every story, there's a middle. When conducting a survey, I asked various people about the rarity of the condition. Over half said they believed it to be common, and whilst they're not entirely wrong, OCD does impact a lot more people than we'd like. It is not a 1 in every 5 people kind of situation. This led me to ask the question, how common is it, and why do most people overdiagnose themselves with it? Well, the National Institute for Health and Care Excellence say the condition affects 1 to 4% of people in their lifetime. Seems like a small amount since, you, me, my mother, your mother, our mothers all have it, right? We're all a little OCD. No, well, maybe. Anyone can have OCD tendencies, or any kind of tendencies. Some OCD tendencies people exhibit are excessive cleanliness, constant worrying, and symmetry. This alone will not automatically give you an OCD diagnosis, but it is good to know what tendencies you may have to manage them. People who might like things around them arranged a certain way could possibly have obsessive compulsive disorder, or it could be an underlying symptom of something else, or they could have nothing at all. Excessive cleanliness is one of the most notable symptoms of OCD. The name is self-explanatory, but just to quickly gloss over the symptoms, it is usually described as overwashing hands, the body, and surfaces to prevent illness. A study shows that around 46% of people with OCD have this subtype, yet it's almost the poster child of the condition when a character is revealed to have it in a show or movie. Emma Pillsbury is a character from the TV show Glee, which aired from 2009 to 2015. While the other characters are off singing or being bullied by the head cheerleading coach, Emma is often seen with her hands gripped to a wipe, cleaning her office tables and hands. While this isn't inherently wrong, because again, it is a real symptom of OCD, her need for a super sterile environment is mostly played for laughs. It never really goes anywhere beyond a superficial plot about her overcoming her also superficial portrayal of OCD. Friends. I don't think I need to introduce it, but I'll do it anyway. Friends is a sitcom which aired from 1994 to 2004. Monica, a main character from the show, was named when I asked a group of people to list some portrayals of OCD they thought were negative. Monica is shown to be an excessive cleaner, just like Emma Pillsbury. In an episode where her parents were coming to visit, she was insistent on straightening cushions and making sure everything was up to shape by her standards. The show is a sitcom after all, so it's not a shocker that they treated her abnormal behaviors with little to no sincerity. OCD doesn't have to be the super serious doom and gloom subject. It is absurd in nature. However, what TV and film writers fail to include is the reasonings behind these actions. For example, a character could need to repeatedly tap an outlet to make sure it won't burst into flames or to prevent something entirely unrelated from happening. This is called magical thinking. As someone with the condition, I can say it is silly the more we think about it, but it does affect us mentally. It is easy to make it into a quick joke for TV or to spice up a character's otherwise bland personality. They never show that a character is experiencing an intrusive thought and are doing the action to prevent the mental turmoil they'd experience if they ignored it. Overlooking that the character is repeatedly tapping the outlet to prevent it from hurting them mentally strips all motivations from the characters. It plays into the crazy mental illness stereotype, like they're doing these repeated behaviors for no apparent reason, other than the fact that they are insane. On to much more positive portrayals of OCD. This podcast is supposed to be a way of learning about the condition while escaping the monotonous structure of a boring classroom. Blue Jasmine is a 2013 film starring Cate Blanchett as Jasmine, a troubled socialite from New York. As we see her imposing on her sister, and after her rich lifestyle comes to an end, we discover that she is suffering from multiple mental illnesses, one of them being OCD. Throughout the film, we see her become more and more humble as her illnesses start to eat at her. And ignoring the fact that this film is directed by Woody Allen, I believe it to be an accurate portrayal of OCD and mental health. We see her go through the turmoil of having OCD, which is never played for laughs. She, as a character, can sit with her emotions without needing to get to the punchline, because there isn't one. Like I said before, not every type of media discussing obsessive compulsive disorder has to be upsetting or a wall of information, but considering the representation the condition already had, it's a breath of fresh air. I'm here with Chrissy Verdeep, an English and media teacher, as well as someone living with OCD just like me, to talk about what it's like to live with it. Again, thank you for joining me, Chrissy. So I want to ask you, how has OCD affected the way you live your life?
So, OCD has affected the way I live my life because it impacts me daily from the moment I wake up and all the routines and rituals that I have to do from throughout the day to when I go to bed, the fact that I just can't switch my brain off, I can't sleep. So, I have really random sleep patterns. I think I have about 4 hours of a night time. Then I have to have an afternoon nap when my brain just crashes with the exhaustion of my mind. And yeah, the expense of OCD as well. People don't realize, like, I have to bulk buy those disposable flash wipes because they're the only thing that I think is clean to wipe surfaces. So you won't catch me sort of like wringing out a J cloth and reusing that. It has to be like a fresh, like, antibacterial wipe every time. I spend a lot of time in a bathroom routine because I have certain things I do. Like I touch each toe a certain number of times in the bath, which is really random. And then sometimes I have doubt whether I shampooed my hair or not. So I probably end up shampooing my hair like 2 or 3 times, which is not great for the hair. Has made it a bit flat and
Yeah,
dull.
me too. Like I wash it like 3 or 4 times. Like it actually gets crazy. This is why I only wash my hair now for like twice a week. I even have like the giant, like giant sized shampoo bottles now.
So many things. Like even just my pets, like I think I get quite worried about them, and so I'm like double checking that everything is fine, their water bowls, their hay and things. There's so many things. I step in and out of rooms, I order, I align. I have magical thinking, so if I don't feed the birds, that bad things will happen. There'll be like some kind of apocalypse. So I make sure I have to feed the birds, and I do that 2 or 3 times a day. That's also very expensive with like bird seed. So yes, huge impact on my life.
Just to explain what magical thinking actually is, it's the belief that two completely unrelated events are actually connected despite any real reasoning. This is a very common side effect of OCD. So, can I ask you, do you believe that people easily misunderstand our condition and why?
People definitely misunderstand OCD. I cannot tell you some of the crappy responses I've had from people. Like, you think that some people are intelligent and they're just going to get it, and then you'll just be so surprised. Like, I said to this lady at work about my OCD, and she said, "Oh, yeah, apparently, we all have a little bit of OCD. Like, everybody breaks a Kit Kat in the same way." It's like,
That's
oh my
terrible.
goodness, a Kit Kat, seriously, like compared to intrusive thoughts and like the hours that I spend on routines and rituals and obsessions. And this lady was going on about breaking a Kit Kat a certain way. And I just wanted to bang my head against the wall. The way that I've recently been treated at my teaching career was absolutely unbelievable. Like, it's gone to a tribunal, and even the judge had no freaking idea. He started making false assertions about OCD, so that's having to go through an appeal. People just think it's what is portrayed in the media, these stereotypical ideas. They don't see the intrusive thought side, they just see a clean freak or somebody not stepping on lines of the pavement. And all of these things were, portrayed in the media in a really superficial way. So the more that you can raise awareness, the better. I love my neurodivergent community. I'm like, just finding that I relate to autistic people so much more than like regular people. Like, I love my ADHD students, and definitely starting to feel an alignment with the autistic community and stuff, because these are all morbid what do they call them, comorbid disorders, and I think we can all relate to each other. So yeah, it's nice to find your people. But yeah, the regular people just don't get it, they don't understand, and it's kind of not their fault because of the media.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Media is definitely partly to blame. Actually, earlier in this episode, we talked about negative portrayals of OCD, and there was two that completely stuck out to me. Like one on Friends, where she's just cleaning pillows and that's it. Everyone's laughing, and then another one on Glee, which actually is one of my favorite shows. So it's helpful that this portrayal is on that, but she's just wiping down her desk and nothing else. Everyone laughs once again. Like, they don't know that this is actually a mental condition. They just think it's something that everyone does. Like earlier, how you mentioned that that woman believes that, oh, eating a Kit Kat a certain way, as if like snapping a Kit Kat in half is not their whole brand. It's completely annoying, but it's the world we live in. I've got one last question for you. It's a little more hopeful than the depressing questions I've just asked, but what can people without OCD do to make life easier for people like us with OCD?
So people without OCD, what I find, I have some friends that are very, very good at supporting my OCD. They give me plenty of space. They know that I'm sometimes going to be late because I'm busy doing routines and rituals, and they don't judge me for it. I think they always give me like 5 or 10 minutes leeway. I have a friend who's amazing, like, because I have cross-contamination food issues. So if we go to a restaurant and it's like tapas, she knows that I will have my own tapas, or she lets me take the tapas that I want first, and then she has the remainder, because she knows that for me, food that's been touched by other people is like just traumatic. So she's like, you take the chips you want, you take the chicken that you want, and she's fine with that, because I find, people that have several kids, then they're not germ stressed the way that I am. People know that I have to put things away in a certain order and style. So they literally just give me time and space. Time and space is probably the best things that you can give to someone with OCD, and definitely a no judgment approach.
I completely agree. It doesn't really take much to support someone with OCD. You just have to be mindful. And I feel like a lot of people, they don't know what OCD is, so it's impossible for them to be mindful about something they don't completely understand, which is kind of the whole point of this podcast. I want to tell people about OCD without like boring them, But thank you so much for answering my questions and taking time out of your day. And, I just hope people finally understand what we actually have to go through. But thank you. Thank you. Episode 2 has come to an end. I want to thank everyone for listening, and I want to emphasize that I don't hate people without OCD. Despite all the teasing I do in this episode, it's out of place of love. I just want to entertain and inform. Thank you again for listening.